Well, sometimes when you have a bad day, you just got to let it go. And that's what we're here for. Maybe your fantasy team had a great day. Maybe it had a bad day. Maybe you're like the Miami Dolphins, where you put up a fight, Bloom, and then fall short. Like early on
Yeah.
in this game, it is the Buffalo Bills over the Miami Dolphins, 30-27, the final score. Bills are 7-2. Miami's only 2-6, but early on, I mean, 10-6 at halftime. And you're thinking, well, Dolphins putting up a fight, and look at this, and Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen's first half stats, I don't have them in front of me, Bloom, but like
Hmm.
they were not good. I believe it was like 100 yards passing, top of my head. So things weren't great for Buffalo. Then they got better. I got better. Tua Tagovailoa, 231 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Tyreek Hill, 4 for 80. Devon Achane, 8 for 58 and a receiving touchdown, also 12 for 63 and a rushing touchdown. Raheem Mostert, 2 for 32 as a receiver, and then 10 carries, 56 yards there. So that's enough. That'll do. Odell Beckham Jr. did something, 3 for 15. Jalen Waddle continues to do not much, but he did score a touchdown, 2 for -4 and a touchdown. Is that even out? Depending on your scoring. But either way, you saw him like put up a fight, and then the second half happened, and they couldn't stop Buffalo with 24 points scored compared to the Dolphins 17. Let's talk Miami side here.
Yeah, and see, as it is in the NFL, so it is in fantasy football. And in the NFL this week, teams are assessing where they are. What possibilities does this season really hold? And our fantasy teams, we're looking at the same thing. And, the two are intertwined. Miami actually was in this game because of some of Buffalo's miscues, like you were saying. Tua Tagovailoa was excellent in this game. The running game was excellent. It was just, Raheem Mostert fumble early on in the second half was really costly. Not being able to stop Buffalo in the second half was costly. It just wasn't enough. But Devon Achane, yes, if you thought when Tua Tagovailoa comes back, he's going to be a league winner, it sure looks that way. And what he's doing in the passing game and the running game. Raheem Mostert looking good, still worth carrying, not necessarily worth playing, at least in these kinds of matchups. Tyreek Hill usually shut down by Buffalo. At least he wasn't a lineup liability. Jalen Waddle got a little banged up. I think someone, Damar Hamlin stepped on the back of his ankle. He did get a touchdown on this one, but also was part of the attempt at the end of the game on the last play to lateral and go backwards. So he lost some yards there. But this is a run-first offense, as it should be, as the running game has been very good. And Miami is kind of back against the wall going into a game at LA against the Rams next week.
Yeah, and we'll see how that continues. We'll see the Bills continue to roll on, keep rolling, Josh Allen, after that bad first half. 235 through the air, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT. And James Cook gets 10 for 44 on the ground. Ray Davis gets 4 for 20 as a rusher, but he leads the team in receivings with 2 for 70 and a receiving touchdown. Awesome. Love Khalil Shakir, 6 for 50 in this one. Dalton Kincaid, 4 for 32. Mac Hollins, 5 for 30 and a touchdown. And it was Quentin Morris with a catch for 2 yards and a touchdown. Keon Coleman, 1 for 21 in this one. They're continuing to figure things out. And you're going to look at it and be like, wow, I mean, they didn't blow you away, and they scored 30 points. So offensively, get it done. Defensively, doing enough, especially after taking a charge there early
Yeah.
on for Miami.
Yeah, and they scored 30 points, even though there was an interception in the red zone that Keon Coleman should have caught. It wasn't on Josh Allen. There was another red zone sequence when they ended up like with 30 yards, like goal to go from the 30. So this is what happens, okay? Josh Allen just does it all. And sees this is a microcosm of the season, right? There's some bumps, there's some struggles, there's some points where it looks like, wow, are they really going to lose a game they should win? No, they win, and they win because of Josh Allen and because of Tyler Bass, who was shaky in this one. He missed an extra point, clanked another extra point off the upright, but it went through, but made it from 61 to win. Ray Davis, it was just a busted coverage, and then it was so they lost track of him out of the backfield. It was man coverage. One guy had a chance to make the tackle, and he didn't. So that's Ray Davis for you. There's no real fantasy stars here. Khalil Shakir was okay in PPR leagues. James Cook, okay in PPR leagues. Mac Hollins, right? What does Mac Hollins do other than ruin fantasy value? So he was getting enough targets with Amari Cooper out. And this offense has also morphed into a Josh Allen passing offense. Josh Allen not running as much, not as much balance in this offense as we've seen with Joe Brady, but it continues to lead to wins. And next week it leads to a game at Indianapolis.
What does this lead to? A stinker. Unless you're a Ravens fan, then you're loving life, right? How do you bounce back against losing from Cleveland? Beat the crap out of the Denver Broncos, 41-10. They called off the dogs. Josh Johnson, friend of the show, by the
Yeah.
way. Josh got in with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Oh, you don't you want to talk about speaking English? I cannot do that. You want to talk about calling off the dogs? You put in Josh Johnson with 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So there you go. We'll get to Baltimore side in a little bit. Let's talk about Denver because it's basically Cortland Sutton and nobody else. Sutton now with back-to-back 100-yard games and a touchdown pass to Bo
Yeah.
Nix. Bo Nix is the team's second best receiver. He's better than Troy Franklin. It's not working, Troy. I don't care about the college connection. Do we talk about our college girlfriends? No.
Right.
Whatever. No. Like, not really. Sorry. Apologies, Chris. My guy Chris. He was my college roommate, so I guess I do talk about Chris, but still, like, why we talk about old stuff? Lil Jordan Humphrey doesn't do anything but turn the ball over, cause the first interception on Bo Nix's first pass. But the thing is, Sigmund, up until like 2 minutes left in the first half, they were right there.
Yeah.
They were right there with this team and then didn't do anything in the second half. And Zay Flowers is amazing. And Derrick Henry's awesome. Again, Baltimore side. Denver side is go get Bo Nix some help.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's really funny is, weren't the Broncos doing really well on fourth downs going into this game? Wasn't that one of the things that they were among the league's best at? If they had been able to convert some fourth downs in this game, it could have been interesting.
They were 16 in a row. They had 16 fourth downs they converted in a row. And I think they went 1 of 4 today.
Right. And the one was the Sutton pass to Nix on fourth and goal. So, you pulled out the right play call, the Philly special, and the Denver special, Sean Payton. But, there was one, and they had the right call dialed up on a deep ball to Troy Franklin. He got behind the defense, but Nix didn't hit him. Overthrew it. There was another one whenever they were just short and it was overturned on replay. And like you said, Cortland, Cortland Sutton did have the big game in the throw. Estimate all this talk that he's going to get more work this week. Well, in the fourth quarter when the game was over. And that's it. And guess what? Next week, going to Kansas City, another yardstick game, another game to see where you really stand.
Yeah, see where you stand. And Baltimore now, and again, Broncos offense is figuring things out, but defensively they played better. And offensively, they're outstanding. I mean, Denver's defense, legit top 5. And they made him look like just moving through it, just hot knife through butter.
Yeah.
And it was Lamar not running and just crushing you from the pocket. So awesome. He's so fun to watch. And some of the touch on his passes, just magnifique. Chef's kiss, to be sure.
Yeah.
Tight ends didn't do much. Likely didn't have a catch. Mark Andrews had 2 for 26. Zay Flowers did everything. 5 for 127 and 2 touchdowns. Might want to tackle him, Devin Key. Anyway, Derrick Henry, 23 for 106 and 2 rushing touchdowns there as well. Whatever the plan was for the Ravens from Vance Joseph's defense, obviously did not work.
Yeah, you can see that it's very difficult to come up with an answer for this Ravens offense. How have they lost 3 games? But we'll see what happens in January. We'll see what happens when it gets to playoff football. And only the Ravens can score 41 points, and you still feel disappointed as a fantasy player because Derrick Henry's going to get his, and Lamar Jackson is going to hook up with Zay Flowers. But if you started a Mark Andrews in this one, you didn't get what you're looking for because it was too easy. It was another game. When the Ravens win, it's just too easy. And what you see is Zay Flowers everywhere in the secondary. Just if you saw Lamar Jackson let one go downfield, just know that Zay Flowers was going to be somewhere with nobody standing around him, basically. That's how it went as far as that part of the passing game. Derrick Henry is inevitable. It's time to start the Derrick Henry MVP talk. Yes. Let's give the MVP to someone other than a quarterback, just to change it up. And why not? And really, as more of a career achievement award, since he was stuck in Tennessee for so long. And you see how difficult it is to defend this offense. Even Patrick Ricard, there's so many fun players. There's like an archetype of a fun player. How about the guy who's a defensive lineman and a fullback, and he can catch a touchdown when things are going easy? Yeah, Patrick Ricard. That's how easy it was playing Thursday night, so we get to turn on and watch the show with Cincinnati trying to keep their season alive going into Baltimore.
Yeah, Quan Alexander's a question in coverage anyway, but when the fat man scoring a touchdown on you in coverage,
you can't cover a defensive lineman.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. What's up, Devin? We got Devin and Joey.
Yeah, Joey Wright. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
there we
It means
go.
a lot. I love spending time with our people.
Yeah, man. Love it, love it, love it. It's better than talking about that game. Chargers 27 and the Browns 10. Oh, Jameis. Oh, Jameis. With all the greatest pregame speeches that you could possibly have, it's Jameis Winston. He's still a national treasure, Bloom. I still love him. But the 3 picks today, oh my God. We'll get to the Browns a little bit. Let's talk Chargers football. Justin Herbert, 282 through the air, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, 2 rushing touchdowns for J.K. Dobbins and 85 yards. That's awesome. Quentin Johnston, back in action, 4 for 118 and 1 touchdown. Joshua Palmer with the other touchdown at 63 yards. Ladd McConkey with 5 for 64 yards. By the way, J.K. Dobbins also had 2 for 20. So they're just rolling. They scored 20 points in the first half, kind of coast, get another score in the fourth quarter. There you go. Recipe for Jim Harbaugh. Who's got it better than us?
This is a good team. This is a legit good team.
Yep.
Okay. A balanced team, a team that has a quarterback, a team that has a running game, a team that has some wide receivers that can give you fits with different types of tools, matchups. And yeah, again, I mean, it's these the Chargers are, I don't want to say a legit Super Bowl contender, but then again, if the Chiefs are the king of the hill, I can't wait to see the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers play in the playoffs. I want it to happen in the playoffs. But we're going to see them, of course, as a divisional matchup. Justin Herbert was 2 busted coverages, but that's okay. You know, when you see the busted coverage, 1 to Palmer, 1 to Johnston. So Ladd McConkey, all 3 of the wide receivers, good plays. McConkey was the least of the 3 just because they didn't let him get free behind the defense. J.K. Dobbins barely touched the ball in the first half because, again, when you're finishing drives with busted coverage, long touchdowns, not a lot of running game opportunities. So he did it in the second half as they were running out the clock. And yeah, what are they going to do when you're a playoff team? You chase them out of the building, and they're going to go. Tennessee's going to come to the Chargers building next week, and I'm sure they're going to get chased out of that building.
Yeah, chasing abounds. Still love Jameis, but 3 picks today. Cedric Tillman, 6 for 75 and a touch. Jerry Jeudy, 7 for 73. He is the ultimate alliteration receiver. Of course, it's Jerry Jeudy, right? Peter Parker, Jerry Jeudy, Miles Morales. There you go. He's like a superhero with no superpowers. David Njoku, 5 for 29. Will he be traded away? I mean, now at 2-7, you know what I mean? Are you missing Joe Flacco? Are you thinking like, I guess we're not going to make that run? Are you trading away David Njoku or Jordan Akins or anything? Nick Chubb, 15 for 39. I still love him. But the Chargers can play some strong defense, exactly what they did against Jameis and company.
Yeah. And really, it feels like last week was a dream. Sometimes you got some good dreams, and then you wake up.
It was all a dream.
It was all a dream. And see, this game was the answer to, you know, if you just started watching football last week and you watch Jameis Winston and that big comeback, this is how the Ravens lost, right? Well, why didn't someone give him a chance to start? Why isn't he now you got your answer. This week was your answer. This is why he's not a starting quarterback. And his first interception was, you know, he's trying to throw into some sort of double, triple coverage in the red zone. His 100th career interception. See, remember whenever they stopped the game against Kansas City when Peyton Manning, it was at his funeral, like they stopped the game. That's what they should have done for the 100th interception. They should have stopped the game, given him something on the sidelines. Congratulations. Because then you got to have something in the NFL to get to 100 interceptions. I mean, that's actually a pretty incredible accomplishment for them to let you continue to play to get up to 100 career interceptions. And then he had a couple more, including a good old Jameis interception where like the guy he threw to was the only person in the screen. Like there wasn't even an offensive player around. At least you had garbage time here. If you had Jerry Jeudy, you had Cedric Tillman with a touchdown on the side of the end zone. So, you know, we do see garbage time might help you. Poor Nick Chubb. They made Nick Chubb the captain before this game. You're captain of what? The captain of this Browns team. And see, like I said at the top of the show, teams need to be assessing where they're at. Fantasy teams need to be assessing where they're at. Where the Browns are at, and you feel bad for Kevin Stefanski. Hasn't even coach of the year twice, but this is where the arc of this team is now. Myles Garrett had like 3 sacks in the first 15, 20 minutes of this game. One of the best players in the NFL. You can't build anything around that. It's just, it's sad. Factory of sadness with a new line, and it's inventive, even though it still has the same result.
Same result. By the way, there's nothing better than Salty Devin.
Yeah, poor
Salty Devin. Yeah.
able to take the Yankees out. It's too bad. Next year.
Next year. Have it done. Take care of business. All right. New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers. Fantasy stuff to talk about. Although it's the Panthers getting the win, yay? Question mark.
Right.
It's one of those like, why are you winning? What are you doing? I mean, you could have whatever quarterback that you want. I still believe Shedeur is the best. He'll be a top 5 pick. I think Travis Hunter should be the number 1 overall pick. That's just me, Bloom. But let's talk not the draft yet. Let's talk the return of Derek Carr. By the way, 23-22 Panthers win over the Saints. Derek Carr comes back, 236, 1 touchdown, no INTs. 1 touchdown, Foster Moreau, because of course. Alvin Kamara did everything because of course. 29 carries, 155 yards, and then 6 catches for 60 yards. Amazing. Taysom Hill, 4 for 41 as a receiver, 5 for 19, and a rushing touchdown there. Also a pass. It wasn't complete. Chris Olave, what was he concussed in like the first quarter?
Yeah.
Like super, super early. We'll put a pin in that and watch things. But it's like, okay, at least it wasn't Spencer Rattler, but they didn't win.
Yeah. Again, speaking of dreams you wake up from the first 2 games, and speaking of where are you at? Okay, how many years have we seen now the Saints pushing more money off to the future, pushing more? Let's keep everybody together. Let's see if we could. Okay, we need a quarterback. Let's bring in Derek Carr and spend all kinds of money on him. Pushed off into the future. I mean, so you say this team should go into rebuilding mode, but how do you do that when you're in cap hell? And what does the future hold for the Saints? There's actually the Pope blessed the Saints by accident. I guess that's what you get. Chris Olave, speaking of prayers, oh man, had so many concussions. Look, it's not great whenever after a guy is concussed, you hear he's showing movement in his extremities. And then you also have, how's it going for the Saints? Michael Thomas taken to Twitter and just laying in to Derek Carr, absolutely laying into Derek Carr. And on one hand, the NFL, these kind of subjects are taboo to go public. Obviously, it's not very professional. But on the other hand, there's a lot of stuff that we can intuit from the outside that we never hear. And I think for Thomas, watching this, he just couldn't keep quiet anymore about this stuff. Poor Alvin Kamara. I mean, not if you have him for fantasy, but so they gave him the extension. I mean, he's going to retire a Saint. He's going to go down as an all-time great Saint. If you make the all-time Saints team, he's probably the running back, right? So it means you're going to have to touch the ball 35 times or whatever against the Panthers. Wow, how long can this last? Kendre Miller, he's on IR again, by the way. Jordan Mims, I guess, had a nice catch and run. Taysom Hill was a good play. That's fun. That'll cheer you up. Taysom Hill catching some balls, getting a rushing touchdown. He has 30 rushing touchdowns. That's pretty awesome. Taysom Hill has had an awesome and unique career. There's never been anybody like Taysom Hill before, probably never will be again. There might not ever be a Saints team this disappointing again. And guess what? Atlanta's coming to town next week.
I thought we were supposed to see Jonathan Brooks. But Chuba Hubbard with 2 rushing touchdowns, 72 yards rushing there as well. Miles Sanders, who, if the Broncos traded for him, Miles Sanders would be their best running back because #reasons. Bryce Young, 171, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Jatavian Sanders, 4 for 87. Let's put a dynasty pin in that. You already should have been all over him. Jalen Coker, 2 for 36. Kid can still play. All right. Yeah. Xavier Legette, a favorite, 33 yards, 1 receiving touchdown. And yeah, this team's just kind of slugging.
Yeah, right.
It's the slog.
Slouching towards Bethlehem.
The thing is like, why are you winning? You need a quarterback. Not that Dave Tepper would pet, but by the way, Dave Tepper, and I give him a ton of grief all the time. But he did the Luke Bryan country concert in Panther Stadium, and he didn't charge a thing. And all the proceeds that they went for from that concert, Luke Bryan didn't take any money, and Dave Tepper didn't take any money. Went all for Carolina flood victims and all that. So, like, Dave Tepper, good job, man. Good job. Carolina, we'll see what your future's like.
Yeah, we'll talk about this when we get to the Tennessee and New England game too, but the outcomes today really jumbling things. When you look at the draft, there's 6 teams at 2-7 now. Six
Wow.
teams, and they all, except for New England, need a quarterback. New Orleans, Carolina, Cleveland, Vegas, the Giants. And don't count out Dallas. We'll get to that. A lot of teams in play for that potential number one pick. A lot of stuff. So, yeah, like you said, Cecil, it's kind of like congratulations. And again, Bryce Young, you led a comeback victory. Congratulations. Dave Canales still won't say he's the starter next week. Huh? Okay. Jeez. Tough room.
Rough crowd.
Yeah. Like Xavier Legette getting a touchdown, had one ripped away from him. Jean Charles did it. I'm down here in New Orleans, so we got to get a good French name in there for a big play. But Legette, making things happen better than Coker in terms of fantasy. But like you said, Coker can play. Disappointing, but you did see at least a little bit of production. Chuba Hubbard with the touchdowns in the second half, including the go-ahead touchdown. Chuba Hubbard's been one of the best picks in fantasy leagues this year. So there's that. That's your silver lining. Jatavian Sanders making some plays downfield. There's a little silver lining there. But yeah, you want to say stop winning games, but at the same time, you play the Giants next week. So big draft implications. Next week in Germany, Sprachen Sie Deutsch?
Okay. By the way, Brandon Stokely does a Cajun word of the week.
Oh,
on
yeah?
Evans and Stokely with Mark Schlereth.
Yeah.
Totally not too long of a name show or show name.
Yeah.
His one, I can't remember what his one this week was, but Gree. Do you know what Gree is?
Put some greenery on your doorstep. That's right. You look out. If you ever step on your front door and you see a little pouch, someone's doing something. It could be any number of things. Yeah. There's a restaurant down here called Gree. That's also Dr. John. Dr. John explains everything you need to know about voodoo. May he rest in peace as he's with the ancestors. But remember, Cecil, I taught you Lon Yop a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we do here on the Audible.
It's like a baker's dozen, man. Just get a little lagniappe there. By the way, if you see a pouch of something on your porch, it just meant Luke brought me over some gummies. Anyway.
Thanks, Luke.
Sorry, Joe. It's legal. Anyway, these are the jokes. I'm better than Tony Romo, the comedian. Like, maybe I'm not funny, and maybe people think I'm an aloha, which is fine. I got big shoulders. But the Broncos game was so bad. Tony Romo started doing like stand-up Romo in the fourth quarter. And it's awful. Of course, the game was awful. So there you go. Cincinnati 41, Raiders 24. Let's talk about this thing as we got 4 games down, 4 games to go. Early recap for the early games here. It's the Audible, Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom. And the Bengals there are 4-5. The Raiders are 2-9. Gardner Minshew and Desmond Ridder played. When you have 2 quarterbacks, you really have none. And they have 3, although O'Connell's banged up. But anyway, it's like, all right. Next, Jacoby Myers, 8 for 105. There you go. Brock Bowers, 5 for 45 and a touchdown. Bowers is so good. Nothing from the ground game. Zamir White had a touchdown. Okay. Nobody started him. So here you go, Raiders. Surprised they got to 24.
Yeah, garbage time. They're going into their bye. Gardner Minshew has gotten benched twice. That's kind of like throwing 100 interceptions. You've gotten benched twice. When you got benched, they still had to play you again, and then you played yourself back to the bench again. Congratulations. But congratulations with some Brock Bowers garbage time touchdown. Jacoby Myers is a good player, and you got the result you were looking for if you played him. If you play Alexander Madison, he actually ran pretty tough on the first drive, and they scored another touchdown on the first drive. So don't tell me that first drive success means a team is good or an offense is good. But then Zamir White gets the touchdown. Zamir White's still not good. And Raiders, you're in that derby to get to that number 1 pick after 6 quarterbacks got taken in front of you this past year. Well, I don't think you'll see 6 quarterbacks taken in front of the Raiders next year.
No, not at all. Cincinnati side, Joey B, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. It was beautiful. Mike Gesicki, 5 for 102 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, 7 for 43. Chase Brown, 5 for 37 and a touchdown. Drew Sample gets a touchdown as well. Let me see. The other one is, Andre Yosevich, who was actually at the Shrine game the same year as Zay Flowers. Got Zay Flowers on the brain. Chase Brown, 27 carries, 120 yards. Okay, There you go. There's your backfield, at least against the Raiders, which they're pushovers. But man alive, Cincinnati just dealing out there.
Yeah, what does it take? It takes the Raiders. And Joe Burrow with the 5 touchdowns, even though Jamar Chase didn't catch any of them. Mike Gesicki kicking out that gritty, getting some big plays in the second half. Eric Hall went down with a contact injury. I hated seeing that. I hope he's all right, but Drew Sample. It was blocking tight end touchdown day today. By the way, Chris Manhertz caught a touchdown. It was the Nick Vanette. If you were a blocking, last week was National Tight End Day. This week was National Blocking Tight End Day. You also saw Chase Brown put on the big boy pants today and took the whole backfield basically with Zach Moss hurt and showed, he can handle that. Again, it's the Raiders. This is a good game. You want to build your confidence. You do it against the Raiders. Again, building their confidence going into a game against Baltimore. And the thing about the Bengals is that they can just sneak into the playoffs. They know they can play with Baltimore. They can play with Kansas City. They can play with the best teams, Buffalo in the AFC. They just need to keep beating the bad teams so they can get there.
Yeah, get there and get some, like the Commanders and the Giants up next. And it's 27-22. Of course, it's the Commanders. They get the win. They are 7-2. The Giants are 2-7. Jaden Daniels with 2 passing touchdowns, 209 yards passing. And then to the passing touchdowns, all go to Terry McLaurin. 2 catches, 19 yards, 2 touchdowns. Thank you. Olamide Zacchaeus with 2 for 48. Noah Brown with 5 for 60. Austin Eckler, no Brian Robinson in this one with a hamstring. Eckler gets 3 for 41 as a receiver, and then 11 for 42 and a rushing touchdown. Chris Rodriguez with 11 for 52 in this one. And Zach Ertz only a catch for 5 yards. So there you go. Maybe the Commanders need a blocking tight end themselves, huh?
Yeah, and what a difference is, we're starting to see the second divisional matchups. The first divisional matchup between these teams, it looked like a game between 2 bad teams, and the Commanders won basically because the Giants didn't have a kicker. This time around, even though the score looks close, honestly, the Commanders just showed they're a good team. They're 7-2, 7-2 for the first time since 1996. Some of you, I think we're okay. I mean, I don't think we just totally drive off the young people, even though we're old men. Some of you probably weren't even born the last time. Jaden Daniels wasn't born the last time the Commanders were 7-2. And this was a quiet, just a typical quiet, like 22 point day. When Jaden Daniels has a quiet day, it's same. Terry McLaurin, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. I'll take that. Austin Eckler with Chris Rodriguez, and Chris Rodriguez, making a statement today that he still has a place in the NFL. His tough running, closing out the game, perfect role for him. But Austin Eckler was solid in the first half. Next, when the Steelers come to town.
Watch your tabs, Bloom, because you're getting. I used to have the 8-bit SIG in here somewhere.
Yeah,
maybe
I don't know what's going on. No tabs open, but it's New Orleans internet. I think the New Orleans internet is mourning the Saints.
Somebody put some gree on your laptop.
Doorstep, yeah. Put some gree on your laptop.
Yeah, gummies or gree, you decide. Daniel Jones or anybody else, you decide. At least Malik Neighbors is a stud, 9 for 59 in this one. Theo Johnson got a touchdown. Dynasty-wise, you put a pin in him, right? There's Manhertz with the touchdown as well. But Theo Johnson, 3 for 51. Darius Slayton, 3 for 49. Okay. Tyrone Tracy, 16 for 66. Devil get out. And Daniel Jones had a rushing touchdown there as well. Just happy to see Tracy back out there after he was banged up after his huge game. And kind of isn't that the Giants just in a nutshell, Bloom? Just put a pin in Neighbors, Tracy, Theo Johnson. These guys, we know that they're good. You just need a quarterback. You don't have it, and you need a head coach. You don't have either one.
Yeah, so maybe lose to Carolina next week. I mean, not that they would lose on purpose. But Daniel Jones' first touchdown he accounted for at home in the last 6 games. It was the Manhertz, and you had a touchdown run. You had that throw to Theo Johnson. Malik Neighbors got enough short catches here. Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton not so much. Actually, Slayton responsible for the OPI on the Wan'Dale Robinson touchdown. So you played Wan'Dale Robinson. You missed that. And the Giants competitive. Again, like a moral victory. And then Devin Singletary still looking like a solid running back, taking enough work away from Tyrone Tracy, who's still looking for really good rally to play, even though he was concussed last week. So like you said, Cease, the pieces are there. You need the quarterback. You're going to Carolina in a game that could decide which one of those teams gets a quarterback.
Okay, who in the world got through the Cowboys game? Not many. And I'm talking about the players. Oh my God, let's talk about it as the Falcons get the win over the Dallas Cowboys. And 27-21 the final score. Falcons are 6-3. The rolling Cowboys 3-5. Dak Prescott knocked out with a hamstring injury. CeeDee Lamb knocked out with a shoulder injury. Tyler Guyton had a neck injury. So it's like, yeah, it's not great, Bob. No Ezekiel Elliott for whatever reason. I don't know if that was ever revealed, Bloom. So it's Rico Dowdle, 12 for 75. Okay. Dalvin Cook does nothing as a runner. Right on. Jake Ferguson, 7 for 71. Rico Dowdle, by the way, got 5 for 32 and a receiving touchdown. So if you thought, okay, no Elliott, Dowdle's back from his injury. Cook won't do much. Dowdle did 75 on the ground, a receiving touchdown, over 100 all-purpose and a touchdown. Hell yeah, baby, take that. Take Jalen Tolbert, 3 for 19 or a touchdown. Okay, maybe add him in as a what that flex or something, but problemas abound for Jerry and company.
Yeah, this is like the Saints. I mean, you're not blowing it up, but you're saying it's just not happening. Especially in the NFC 3-5, it's just not happening. You seriously consider putting Dak Prescott on IR, honestly.
Yep.
Just embrace the trajectory of the season. Maybe even CeeDee Lamb after you paid him, and you got to pay Micah Parsons. But seriously, this team, yes, okay, for fantasy football, you got some garbage time. Really, garbage time didn't help very much, but you did see Rico Dowdle have a good fantasy game. Jake Ferguson before garbage time did okay. CeeDee Lamb just absorbing so much punishment, so many hits, because this offense can't really get him free. So again, why are we doing this? Why are we a guy we're giving so much money to? Meaningless games, taking all these hits. Why? Jerry Jones is talking about making some moves, and they're still in it. Come on, seriously, protect the team from him. Okay, somebody give him a phone that so you have someone on the other end that makes him think it's a GM in the NFL and he's making these trades, but not actually like a real person. So just you know what I'm saying? Like, just let him feel like he just traded for Zadarius Smith or something like that, so that he feels like that he's doing something to save the team while the team can't really do much to save itself. And I guess the other question, Cease, is do we start to get Trey Lance ready? I mean, that would make sense. That would actually be rational. Let's see what Trey Lance can do going into free agency. But Dallas, Philadelphia is coming to town next week. I think the tickets to the game are going to be pretty cheap if you don't have anything to do.
Yeah, well, there you go. You're saying basically like catfish Jerry.
Yeah, catfish. Yeah, it's a deep cut actually. That feels like a long time ago. Catfish him because he's gonna want to do something. He's going to show everybody really. Well, Zeke, by the way, and this is something we didn't expect to hear about Zeke. Just unprofessional, right? They're saying like he just has kind of checked out. Why is he still even on the team then? Really? What do you
Jerry.
gain? Exactly. Which again, how did we get here? Jerry. And yeah, they don't have a classy owner like Arthur Blank.
Yeah, there we go. And Atlanta Falcons getting it done with Kirk Cousins and company, 222, 3 touchdowns, no INTs. Darnell Mooney, 5 for 88 and a touch. Ray McLeod, 3 for 28 and a touch. Drake London, 2 for 27 and a touch. And then, swinging my hips. You got a hip injury. So we'll put a pin in that one. I got to stop saying put a pin. Put a pin in saying put in a pin. Kyle Pitts, 1 for 11. Remember when I used to say anyway all the time? Remember Chewbacca? So anyway. Bijan Robinson, 7 catches, 59 yards. He's amazing. 19 carries, 86 yards on the ground. Tyler Algier can make plays, rushing touchdown in this one. So they win. They do it differently. We'll watch some injury situations, London specifically. And keep rolling in that division, Atlanta. Watch Tampa Bay lose on Monday night.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe. Atlanta. I only say that because, Kansas City, the games just stay close for whatever reason. But we're talking about Sunday afternoon and the Atlanta offense. And Drake London at least catches a touchdown on the play. He goes out, lands real hard on his hip. You hope it's just like a bruise or a hip pointer. It doesn't seem like anything that would be structural. Maybe it's because it's Dallas. They were like, yeah, just let it rest. I'm guessing like a really bad contusion, a really bad bruise. But, going up against New Orleans next week, maybe they don't need him. Darnell Mooney says, that's fine. I can be the number one receiver for your fantasy team. You're not putting him on the bench. Poor Kyle Pitts. I mean, poor people who keep playing Kyle Pitts, because it seemed like we reached cruising altitude with him. And with London out, you think, okay, Pitts, but they didn't need to keep the offense opened up because this was an easy victory they could cruise to. Bijan Robinson looks great. Tyler Algier gets the touchdown. Still, Bijan Robinson in PPR leagues was fine. So again, kind of disappointing because Dallas wasn't competitive. Also, something to watch here for Atlanta. Maybe lose Grady Jarrett. 28-3, I'm down here in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think Grady Jarrett had a good chance to be the MVP of that game. And he's not playing at that level anymore. But, that could be a big loss when you have a team that the big problem is they cannot get pressure on the quarterback. So you kind of need to do that to get far in the playoffs because that's where this team is headed.
That's where they're headed. That's where they're going. And that's where neither one of the next teams will be. Sometimes we finish on a strong one. Sometimes we finish on Patriots and Titans, although we will give you some updates on the afternoon games. And then we'll get ready for Sunday night football. But let's talk about it here. It is the Audible, Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom. I'm stalling as I write down timestamps. Patriots and Titans is our next game. And I did get some Drake May questions. And 2017, the final score, by the way. Titans win, they're 2-6. Patriots lose, they're 2-7. I was getting some Drake May questions, 2 QB leagues, whatever. And I was like, let's wait to see. He's just back from his concussion. And unless you're proven, I'm always kind of a wait and see guy. Maybe I'm totally wrong there, but whatever. And May comes out 206, 1 touchdown, 2 INT, sacked 4 times, and then leads the team in rushing with 95 yards on the ground. So that'll benefit his fantasy day if you did slide him into your lineup. The 1 receiving touchdown, Ramondre Stevenson. So there you go. Also Stevenson with a rushing touchdown as well. So there you have it. Big day for Stevenson fantasy-wise. Demario Douglas, 7 catches, 35 yards. Kendrick Bourne, 441. You're just not relying on anyone really not named Ramondre Stevenson. And then Hunter Henry, 7 for 56. You're relying on him there as well. But good to see May out there. Bad-ish to see the Patriots lose, although they could use Travis Hunter. Someone's going to get an ultimate playmaker in Travis Hunter, and whoever it is, I'm going to be jealous.
Yeah, and that's the thing. All these other teams that are going to be picking in the top 10, they should be jealous of New England because they have their quarterback. And what you see with Drake May is, and it's hard to say what he could do in structure because their offensive line is so bad. They're not creating structure. But out of structure, he's making plays, including the play to send the game to overtime, which was just scintillating. He bought time. Finally, the defense is closing in. He finds Ramondre Stevenson for the touchdown to send the game to overtime. So that's a glimpse of the future and maybe games against better teams that matter more down the line when you have more around him. But he's reviving this offense. So Hunter Henry, he got a little banged up in this one. Watch the injury report. Played through it. Ramondre Stevenson, again, he's going to be in your lamps. Demario Douglas at least caught 7 balls, got free open downfield a few times. May couldn't hit him, but glimpses of the future. And for fantasy, the present, and 2 quarterbacks, super flex leagues, certainly May creating value himself, creating value for everyone around him, maybe even Kendrick Bourne. Tougher matchup next week and a rematch of a Super Bowl we all remember, for New England fans, not one they remember fondly against Chicago. But this is about the best possible result that the Patriots could have hoped for, one that makes you excited about your quarterback, but even more excited about your first-round pick next year.
Yeah, there you go. Titans side, it wasn't Will Levis, it was Mason Rudolph. Okay, 240, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, 5 for 50 and a touch, 50. Nick Vannett, 2 for 33 and a touch. Calvin Ridley, 5 for 73. Chiggy Okonkwo, still love him, 3 for 38. Tony Pollard did play, and oh boy, did he play. 28 carries.
Yeah.
We're not sure about Tony Pollard this week. Here's 28 carries. All right. 3 for 26 as a receiver as well. So 31 touches. He's just back. Hey, you're back, right? You're good, right? Here's 31 touches, but he came through in a win. It's pretty rare for Tennessee this year.
Yeah, a win again that could maybe take them out of getting the top quarterback on the board. We'll see. It's early. It's only week 9. Yes. Does this show you where you are as a fan of these teams? See, you're thinking draft, I'm thinking draft, and there's still half of the season left to go. But that is where we are in the NFL of haves and have-nots. If you had Tony Pollard in, even though he's a game-time decision, even though, like you said, the team said we need to have 2 running backs, he's so beat up, and still, yeah. Tony Pollard, congratulations if you trusted him. You did have an interception in the end zone, or maybe this game could have been a little easier. You did have Calvin Ridley saying, hey, keep me in the lineup as long as Mason Rudolph is out there. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, all he does is catch touchdowns. And Tennessee probably won't be, again, that competitive next week against a real team, the Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers. There we go. Any afternoon thoughts, Bloom?
Well, Doug Peterson goes back to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is giving the Jags a giant wedgie right now, atomic wedgie. I think they have 23 yards passing after going into the second half, and Saquon Barkley hurdled someone backwards. See, every week you see something you never saw before. Saquon Barkley hurdled someone backwards. Also has a couple touchdowns in this one. Every Cardinals running back is scoring except for James Conner, although he's running really well. The Bears, Caleb Williams, see what he can do in a comeback game script here. As the Bears, you thought they were legit. Maybe it's the Cardinals that are legit. The Lions and Packers in a game that should be in sepia tone in a driving rain. And it started out as Josh Jacobs versus Dave Montgomery. But of course, even in a driving rain, you have Jared Goff starting out 11 for 11 in this game. And you have Jordan Love throwing a pick six. Yes. And that is this game 17-3 at the half. But again, best team in the NFL, Detroit Lions. Can't wait to see what they're going to do. Rams and Seahawks. And I must have cursed this one because I thought the Rams are a good team now. No, this is turning into one of those old NFC West slap fights in terms of offensive football. 6-3 going into the half here, although the Seahawks are driving. And, just not necessarily great offensive football here, great for fantasy. Last week was so incredible. There were so many thrills and chills. Maybe the NFL just needed to take a breather here as we get ready for the second half. And appreciate seeing everyone coming out, those of you at the live show again, as we're doing this while these games, not necessarily great games going on, unless you're a Lions fan, and you should be a Lions fan enjoying that. But fantasy football stretch run is coming. We're there for you. We're going to be here for you on the Audible turnaround Monday morning. We'll do a little waiver wire talk. And we love all of you. And there's not much I look forward to more than spending time with my man, Cecil, and all of our wonderful audience and community. Anyway.
We're getting all emotional. It's fine. It's what happens when you're older. By the way, shout out Marie when I was at my public appearance today, Bloom. I'm on a billboard.
Uh-huh.
And Marie's like, help me out, fantasy lineup. I think I told her to start Burrow over Baker, whatever. I'm a genius. Yes. But anyway, I was on stage and I was introducing myself, and she's like, wear your leather pants.
The chaps.
Well, I did buy leather pants. So that's been a thing. Because people are like, why are you wearing leather pants? I'm like, because I can. I'm a rock star, baby.
Yeah. Well, and it's like you're a rock star and you were going to be a rodeo star. And those two things actually kind of overlap.
Sure, yeah. But as I told Marie, and I was like, I'm old. She's like, you're older. And so thanks, man. We appreciate the love and support out there with leather pants or no.
Yeah.
He's Sigmund. Follow him on X at Sigmund Bloom. The show is at The Audible. I'm at Cecil Lammey saying, stay tuned. Watch the other videos. And as always, stay frosty, baby.
Gotta have faith.